It has been about 3 years since Cassandra and Melanie last saw their best friend, Kathleen. Cassandra, Melanie, and Kathleen were the best of friends from their early childhood years. They grew up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and went to the same elementary school and later to the same high school as well. It all happened at the end of senior year in high school, when the three girls were preparing for college. Cassandra and Kathleen didn't want to leave Pennsylvania. They enrolled into the community college. Melanie, however, got accepted at the BII University in New York. It was in the middle of that summer vacation that Melanie managed to rent an apartment in New York and moved there. Melanie missed Pennsylvania a lot, and she missed her friends even more. But once college began, she became quite busy and ended up losing contact. It was finally in her third year in New York that Melanie got a chance to visit her hometown again. She had heard Kathleen moved elsewhere, but Cassandra was still in town. She planned to find Kathleen wherever she was and have a crazy girls' night out before she left for college again. But when she met Cassandra, she was devastated to find out that Kathleen had never returned. She never called. There was no way to communicate with her. Cassandra didn't know where Kathleen was anymore. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, how could you lose contact with her? Did you try emailing her? Isn't she on social media? I warned her, but she wouldn't listen. What are you talking about, Cassandra? What happened to Kathleen? That summer you left was the strangest summer of my life. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. You know how Kathleen was. She was never into dating. She always had her nose stuck in her books, and we would have to push her out of the house every Friday night. I don't know what she saw in him, but he just came here out of nowhere and changed it all. He wasn't from around here, and I don't know where he was from either. His name was Grayson Davis. He claimed he was 23, about 5 years older than us at that time, but I always had a feeling he was lying about his age. He had to be at least 30. The way he spent money, and he was a bachelor. He never spoke anything of his family or his parents. Where was he getting all the money from? It all happened in 2 weeks, Melanie, believe it or not. He convinced Kathleen in 2 weeks, probably even less than that. It was so strange how Kathleen was never bothered and how he never answered anything about his life. So, what is it that you do? Are you attending college? Do you work? I graduated a year back. I do business now. What's that? What kind of business? If you don't mind me asking. It's nothing big, just a few tips and tricks. I trade people. Excuse me? Can you explain that again? I thought I heard you say trade people. What is that? Mostly young. The old ones don't sell. Women are the one usually in demand. I had no clue what he meant by trading people. I tried searching him up, but there were no whereabouts of any business, small or large, owned by a Grayson Davis. As a matter of fact, I couldn't find any information about him. I asked Kathleen later that day. She just pushed the question aside as if it didn't even matter to her. She didn't know herself. But that was only the beginning to all the strange things I noticed in him in the 2 weeks that he was in town. He was staying at a hotel where Kathleen supposedly met him every day, and one day I even dropped Kathleen off there. I had a feeling she stayed with him overnight when I met her the next morning. As soon as I met Kathleen, I knew something was up. She was different. It was like she couldn't pay attention anymore. She was physically there with me, but her mind was somewhere else. She kept forgetting the simplest of things, like where the bus stand was, or which way the exit of the shop was. We went to do some shopping and got some cheap makeup. She handed the cashier a $100 bill instead of a $20 and just walked away. She wasn't in her right mind anymore. Kathleen, are you okay? Why? I'm fine. It's just that I have this pain in my neck and my head is hurting a little. You don't look too well. Maybe I should drop you off home. You need rest. I didn't notice it at the time, but right before Kathleen left my car, I saw a suspicious mark on her neck. It was an unusual squarish lump. It was actually a small cut. It had like 2 or 3 stitches on it, and it was right in the middle of the back of her neck. It didn't look like an accident. It looked like it was done to her. I had an eerie feeling that Kathleen had gotten herself into trouble. I tried to talk to her about Grayson and how I found him suspicious. She wasn't aware of the cut she had, and she said it must have been an accidental injury. Kathleen, I know you like him, but I don't know if he's the guy you really want to be with. You don't know where he's from, you don't know anything about his family, and have you found out what he does for a living? How can he afford all of this? Cassandra, don't be so judgmental. Grayson is a nice guy. He's kind and polite, and he knows how to treat women. How can you be so sure? You've only known him for 4 or 5 days. Are you jealous that I've found someone that loves me and you don't? Jealous? You're my best friend, Kathleen. I'm happy that you're happy, but I'm worried for you. You don't have to worry about me. Grayson would never hurt me. He cares for me like no one ever has. Things between me and Kathleen were a little rough at that time. I didn't want to ruin our friendship, so I avoided convincing her after that. But I couldn't ignore everything that was going on. I decided to talk to Grayson personally, one-on-one. I went to the hotel he was staying at. Excuse me, I would like to meet Grayson Davis. He's staying at this hotel. Do you know which room? No, I'm sorry. It's alright, I'll check the register. The receptionist checked the register. She called up the staff, but no one knew any person named Grayson Davis staying at the hotel. I was more confused than ever. I dropped Kathleen off at the hotel the other day. I saw Grayson entering the hotel. Then how could the staff not know him or have any records of his stay? I left the hotel without much of a fuss. I didn't want the people thinking I was a freak. But at that point, I was sure that this Grayson was up to something. I spent the whole day across the street from shop to shop, keeping an eye on the hotel, waiting to see when Grayson would leave, if he was staying there at all. I was shocked when I saw him walk out and get into his car. I couldn't understand why the receptionist lied to me, or why the whole staff would make a drama out of it. I had no other choice. I had to get my hands on his wallet or his bag, something that could have his information on it. The next day, I invited Kathleen and Grayson to brunch somewhere far, but asked Grayson to drive us there. I didn't get the opportunity to check his wallet, but I got a chance to check out his car papers. I was bewildered to find the car didn't even belong to him. It belonged to a woman named Angela Roberts. Was the car stolen? Hey, what are you looking at? These? These fell out when I was searching for my necklace. It dropped somewhere in the car. Dropped in the glove compartment? I think Kathleen's waiting for us. We should get going. Maybe it's time for you to get going. Grayson took out a knife from his pocket. He was looking at me like I wasn't a human, like I was some sort of animal. Do you know what this is? It's an obsidian knife. They say it's so sharp, it can cut through cells and DNA. Let alone your soft, smooth skin. At that moment, my heart felt like it would leap out of my chest. If Kathleen hadn't showed up at that time, I don't know what would have happened to me. I couldn't trust this man, and I couldn't let Kathleen be with him either. I could see that Kathleen wasn't doing well. She had turned unusually pale and haggard. She stopped eating real food and just had things like ice and water. But what bothered me the most was that she had trouble speaking and understanding things. Something was messing with her head. It was like she was incapable of taking her own decisions. I didn't know how to tell Kathleen. She was blinded by him. It was about 10 days since they met that Kathleen called me one morning and told me that she was leaving Pennsylvania. She had secretly gotten married to Grayson and was leaving with him to start a new life. I lost my mind when I heard what she said. It wasn't even 2 weeks and Kathleen had married him. Kathleen's life was now in his hands. I went berserk. I told Kathleen everything. but Kathleen wasn't someone to listen to anything that went against Grayson. I had no other choice but to talk to Kathleen's parents about it. I was amazed to see that they didn't have any problem with their 18-year-old daughter getting married to a stranger and leaving town. But I sensed an uneasiness in their voice, a panicked tone, like someone was watching them, like they were being forced to say what they were saying. But no matter how much I tried, I couldn't talk them into anything. The following Sunday night, Kathleen and Grayson were leaving in his car. There was nothing I could do but watch. That was the last time I saw or heard from Kathleen. Her parents looked awfully depressed since she left. They recently moved back to their hometown. I don't know what happened to her. I hope she's okay. No, we can't just let this go. We have to find her. What if she's in danger? You waited too long, Cassandra. You should have called me earlier. I'm getting our friend back, no matter what. How about we get dinner together tomorrow? Does that sound like a date? Well, I can't refuse a beautiful woman like you. Tomorrow at 9. Next target, locked. Looks like the hunt will go on. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.